I don't typically do this since this is a show about old games and flashing things comes with the territory, but this game has a sequence that seems like it was designed especially to trigger people. If strobing effects are a problem for you, give this one a pass. The proper name of this game is Nagagutsu o Haita Neko Sekai Ishu Hachiju Nichi Dai Boken. Or to use its official English title, Puss in Boots Travels Around the World. To explain this one, we have to start back at the late 60s. Toei found its first big animation success in a film adaptation of Puss in Boots. The film was so synonymous with them that Pero, the eponymous Puss in Boots, became their corporate mascot. And of course a big success means sequels. And in 1976, they put Pero into an adaptation of Jules Verne's Around the World in 80 Days. And that film was released internationally as Puss in Boots Travels Around the World. Honestly, it's a pretty awful movie. But here we are in 1986. Toei has a game division, so why not make a game based on that 10-year-old movie? I need to point out up front that this is not the game released in the US as Puss in Boots Pero's Great Adventure. While that game has a similar theme and reuses a couple of the graphics, it's a totally different game. In fact, that one never got a Japanese release at all. In this game, you have to beat all 8 levels in order to complete your trip around the world, and you have to do it in 80 days, which, going by the timer, is about 1 real-life hour. The timer is constantly ticking down, and if it reaches 0, it's game over no matter where you are. And when you die, you go back to the start of that level, but you don't regain the time. You also have limited lives, and there's no continues. It actually feels kind of unfair that you get a double penalty for dying. Because of that double penalty, if you die on level 1, just hit reset and start over. On some levels you drive vehicles instead of walking, but the car and the boat work just like walking anyways. Pero is constantly attacked by enemies like cat assassins, but he can knock them out by throwing knives or shooting other guns at them. You can jump upward through platforms, but you can't jump downward. And the really terrible graphic design makes it tough to tell what you can walk on. On the England stage, the thin white lines indicate the platforms that you can stand on. On the China stage, you don't have anything like that. Pero can take 5 hits before he's defeated, but you don't get any hits back when you complete a level. So if you have 1 hit left at the start of a level, you might as well kill yourself to minimize the time loss. There are a lot of power-ups that Pero can collect, but Nagagutsu o Haita Neko has one of the most complicated power-up systems I've ever encountered. You collect boots to power up, and what the boot does is determined by if it's facing right or left, if it's right side up or upside down, if it's red or gray, and if it's flashing. Oh, and on some of the levels, because of the palette, one of the colors changes. While most of the boots will help you, there are a few you want to avoid. And for that reason, when I came across the boot suddenly, I'd often have to hit pause and then look it up on a chart. Skipping over the boots on that list that are self-explanatory, the shot up just lets you fire more quickly. The one that destroys all enemies on the screen turns everything black and white and maintains the effect for a short time. Of course, turning things black and white means you can't tell what color boots you're picking up. And the super speed and jump power-up is going to be one of your best friends. You can really rocket through the level once you have that. The end of every stage has a dragon, and you'll need to shoot it quite a few times in order to defeat it. It actually gets to be pretty tricky to jump over some of its fireballs, because you don't have a lot of fine control over your jumps. With the high jump, it's very likely that you'll jump over the first fireball and land on one that hasn't even been shot when you left the ground. The submarine on the 5th stage controls a bit differently. You have to repeatedly jump to maintain movement. Your torpedoes can take out rock formations, and there could be boots hidden in them. On the first stage, watch out for this bridge. If you stand in one place too long, it just drops out from underneath you. On the boat stage, it's possible to fire upward. Just press up and shoot. You can take out just about anything with a shot, including the lightning bolts in the storm. One more gameplay tip for you. On the Arabia stage, watch out because there's a lot of boots that drain your time. You could run down the clock really fast there. Nagagutsu o Haita Neko is an absolute miserable game to play. And I'm not just talking about the 15-second long song loop. It controls terribly, and enemies tend to swing between can't do anything and totally undodgeable. You could beat your head against the wall trying to complete this one, but why would you do that to yourself?